flying saucer landings and stuff like this. And I said, why am I getting all these things? Because, you know, I was curious. I'm here at the Pentagon against my will.
Well, you signed up.
Well, I signed up, but I signed up to go to Hawaii, you know. And basically, the government sends you wherever they want you, or the Air Force does, whatever. But, so, anyway, I'm sitting there and going through these different files. And I didn't see any sense in it myself, but that was the way they wanted me to do, so I did. And they said, I said, well, where am I going to be? You know, am I going to be here the rest of my service? They said, no, you're going to Nevada. You're going to an underground facility.
Is this day one on the job?
This is like the first week that I'm at the Pentagon. And then the most unheard of thing that could be imaginable is that they walk up to me and they said, okay, come in to the room over, this other room over here. And I walk into this other room, and there's a officer standing there, a lot higher than me. And he says, and he looks at these plainclothes people that are in there, and he goes, "This is highly irregular. You know, this just isn't done. You know." And he says, "Well, you know that," and they start talking about rank and stuff like this. And it's just, how can we give this lieutenant full bird colonel? I mean, it's not done. Well, it's going to be done.
Were you present for this conversation?
Yeah, I'm present for this conversation. I'm standing there going, what are they talking about?
You're there for a week. They've given you some papers to read about. What you said was flying saucers.
Flying saucers, reports of flying saucers and things like this.
So what these
landings and stories and Benny Hill and all these others. And I'm going, okay, so why am I doing this, And they said, well, your next duty station requires you to be a certain rank. And that rank is full bird. And I'm going, wait a minute, I'm a lieutenant.
At 16 years old.
At 16 years old, I'm a lieutenant. I'm a second lieutenant. I haven't even made first lieutenant yet, and you want to give me bird? You want to give me full bird? I mean, what happened to lieutenant colonel or captain? And they said, don't worry about that. It's all taken care of. So they pin on the full bird, and I'm going, oh my God.
But it's the capacity of the job. It's not like they were giving you a command.
No, they weren't giving me a command or nothing like that. They just said, you're just required to be this rank and to be in this facility. And I said, all right. And then they said, okay, now what do I want? And then they started arguing about clearance. They started bickering back and forth about, what clearance am I going to have? And I'm going, what is all this? And they said, you're going to a top secret facility beneath the Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. And I'm going, okay, that's all well and good, the top secret, I can understand that. But why are you guys bickering about what clearance I'm going to have? And they said, because that's another requirement. And I said, well, so that's what all that security background checking was for. They said, yes. I said, okay, whatever. So I just sort of sat there and let them do what they, did.
What were the ranks these guys having this conversation?
One of them was a general.
I would expect it, at least.
The general was the one kept saying, it's not done. It's just not done. He hasn't got the qualifications for being a colonel. He hasn't got the backing. He hasn't got the experience. He's a colonel. So, and of course, these guys in plain clothes are the ones, saying this is what's going to happen, you know, this is what's going to happen. Regardless of what you say, General, this is what's going to happen.
Yes, who do you suppose these people in plain clothes were?
I had no clue.
If you were to guess, your wildest guess.
My wildest guess, secret government. That's what I'm guessing. After it was all said and done, I had my full bird colonel, I had crypto top secret clearance, and some other clearance that they said something about, and I didn't even understand what that was, but they said it. They said, in other words, you're saying this person's got higher clearance than the damn president? And he goes, that's right. Oh.
You're in a week.
In a week.
You
In a
know,
week, I'm in Pentagon, and I'm getting all this stuff bestowed upon me, and I'm going, why? You know.
So they were speaking in terms of your next duty station.
Yeah, my next duty station. They kept arguing back and forth.
You'd only been there a week.
I'd only been there a week. And I said, okay, well, how long am I going to be here before I go there? You'll be here for a month. Okay, what am I going to do in that month? You're going to be debriefed about your facility. You're going to. And you can't talk about it to nobody. And I'm going, what else is new? So then in walks my father, my adopted father. And he's going, I looked at him and I said, you're the reason I'm here, aren't you? He said, yeah. And I said, okay. So after that point, I just shut up and didn't say nothing. But then they put me on a plane, sent me to Las Vegas, Nevada, got off the plane, and they said, here is $5,000, go have yourself a blast downtown. I said, why? They said, because you're not going to see the light of day for 11.5 years. I go, what? They said, you're not going to see the light of day for 11.5 years. You're going to be in a facility that's approximately, the first level is like, what, 3-4 miles underground? I'm going, oh, now I see why you gave us the time off. But you can't talk about what you're doing. I said, I understand. Did
they tell you what you were going to be doing?
At the Pentagon, yes, somewhat.
So you had some idea.
They said you're relieving a commander at the facility, Area 51 facility. And he's been there a long time. He's had a nervous breakdown, so you're taking his place.
Oh, so you were actually given the command then. You're relieving a commander.
I'm relieving a commander.
So you did have a command.
Yes, I did. But I didn't know it at the time. And so they let us go have our little fling down in Las Vegas.
Was any explanation ever given to you why you were so rapidly promoted, if you will, and put into such a high position of responsibility?
Yeah. The explanation was a gentleman one of the plainclothesmen walked up to me and he says, I'm Mr. Stevens, and my rank is not important. You are going to be the liaison in Area 51. I said, the liaison? For what? He says, you'll find that out when you get there. And I said, well, why is that why I was advanced so quickly? And he says, yes, and your father had something to do with it as well. And I said, oh, okay. He says, well, you need to stop asking questions. I said, yeah, I kind of got that. So basically I shut up and obeyed orders. We got to the Area 51, well, we got to the aircraft. We boarded this aircraft. It was solid white, blacked out windows with a big red 51 on the tail. and we get in this aircraft, take off. And I said, oh, 45 minutes later, we land. I step out from the aircraft, pitch black, nothing. No stars, nothing. You know, I said, wait a minute, where are the stars? You know, but, better yet, where are we? You know, because we took off at 10 o'clock in the morning, 45 minutes we land, and yet it's pitch black. Where are we? You're inside a mountain. And I said, oh, that's why no stars. Very good. Go get in that staff car. Me along with several other people. And we go and get in the staff car, and the staff car starts going straight down this corridor, and all at once it drops down at a 45-degree angle. Down. And this car accelerates to a certain point, and then it levels off and stops again. We walk out, and they said, okay, you see that building over there? And I said, yep. She said, go in there and strip. Everything comes off. Okay, so I go in this room, this building. I walk in the room. These people are all dressed in white. They tell me to go into this cylinder thing, and I step into it, and this blue mist comes down. Decontamination.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, decontamination.
Same stuff?
No, this stuff hurt. And and then they gave us this jumpsuit to put on. We put the jumpsuit on. Back in the staff car, down another corridor, down another 45 degrees for a couple miles. Come to another building. They say go inside. A pink mist comes down. Went through 3 different segments of decontamination. After the 3rd trip down, we go into we step into an elevator.
You mean like a level? Is it so you say with 3 levels or 3, the pink mist comes down, you said there were 3.
There was 3 different levels. So you had the first level, blue mist, okay. Second level, pink mist, and the final level didn't seem like a mist at all, but yet it was coming down.
Are you naked this whole time?
Oh yeah. Well, every time we step into a building, okay. not in the car, no.
Okay. You were allowed to get dressed and
okay. Jumpsuit.
Try to follow the story.
Yeah, put this jumpsuit on. By the time we get down to the 3rd level, and we step into this cylinder again, this clear mist or clear. It was like we could feel it, but you couldn't see it. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Okay, you're totally decontaminated." I said, oh, nice. You know, they put on this other suit. And there's another jumpsuit, and it's got a triangle on the sleeve, and it says Black Projects on the side of it. And well, okay, fine. Now where are we going from here? It says you're not going anywhere. You're at the level you need to be. These other people are continuing on. So okay, fine. So they escort me down this hallway into this office. I walk into the office, and this guy is sitting in this chair, and his eyeballs are, you know, like he looks like he's had it. You know what I mean? I mean, he's just sort of sitting there, sort of all spaced out. He's got a spaced out look on his face. This is the commander you're relieving, and I'm going, okay. I said, are you okay? And he says, I'm glad I'm leaving. And I said, well, what are you so upset about? You'll find out soon enough. Believe me, you don't want no part of this place. I didn't want no part of this place. I still don't want no part of this place. This place scares the hell out of me. I'm going, okay. nice way to be greeted, right? You know, okay, fine. So he salutes me, I salute him, he leaves under escort, and he leaves, I sit down. And here's this stacks of records, about this high on my desk. And I'm going, oh my God, that's a lot of reading. I'm a beer for a while. So I start reading. First thing I pull off, it says, 1947, Admiral Byrd. diary. So I sat down and started reading. The more I read, the more interested I got. And then continued reading it, read it in its entirety, and then I looked at my assistant and I'm going, is this for real? He says, oh yeah, it's for real. Wow, interesting. Right after I finished reading that, this guy walks into my office and he goes, you're requested on level 27. I said, 27? What level are we on now? You're on level 10. I said, huh. And what's on 27? You'll find out. Anyway, you're being called by name, requested by name, to go down to level 27. I said, okay. Is this my superior? And they said, no. No. Okay. So I put on my jacket, follow this guy to the elevator. We go down, 27th to the 27th level, step off the 27th level, and we're in a cavern. Walk out on the cavern, walk through this cavern, into another tunnel that looked like it had been freshly drilled or bored out. Walk down this tunnel for about a mile, and then I said, okay, that's who called you by name, requested you by name. I'm looking at these two huge giant people standing next to this cylindrical vehicle. Okay, and I walk over there and I said, all right, why am I here? You're going on a journey. And I said, I am. They said, you are. I turned around and looked at my superior and they said, document everything you see and hear. We want a full report. I'm going, okay. All right, so I walk toward this craft. The door slides up real silently.
Like cigar-shaped craft that we talked about?
Yeah, pretty much like cigar-shaped, almost like shaped like a bullet, similar. And the door slides up very silently. I step into it. They step into it.
Before we progress, I want to ask you some questions about your journey going down to level 27. You talked about taking the elevator down, opening it up into a cavern.
Yes.
It's obviously natural light, artificial light.
Artificial light.
Is it cold?
No, it really wasn't that cold. It was like about 70 degrees.
What color was the light?
The light?
Yeah.
It was artificial light. It was more of it was kind of almost like a fluorescent type light.
Was it dim? Was it bright?
Well, they were like implanted into the rock,
Okay.
you know, and they were regular lights, but they were more of like a fluorescent glow to them.
How about the surface floor, the ground that you were walking on? Was it natural or?
It was natural.
Was it bumpy? Was it gravel? Was it?
Well, it was rocky.
Was it rocky?
Yeah. And then when we got into the other tunnel, it was smooth.
Okay, so this is where you had to walk a mile.
About a mile through this tunnel, through this cavern.
That was an artificial tunnel. That was.
No, the mile was more of the cavern. And then at the end of that mile was a tunnel that was smooth, had smooth sides, and we walked into that.
Was the lighting the same there in that part of the tunnel?
It's like the walls were lit, but you couldn't see any visible means of lighting.
Okay. And then the floor?
The floor was smooth. We walked through that into this shuttle station. It looked like a white marble or white crystal, translucent. And we walked into this. I walked into this vessel, sat down. They said, "Strap in." So I strapped in, and I said, "Where are we going?" you're going to Talos. I said, okay, what is Talos? Talos is a city beneath the mountain called Mount Shasta.
Okay, so was this a vessel you were on? When I think of the cigar-shaped craft, I'm thinking flying.
A shuttle.
But this is a shuttle. Now we're talking about maybe a rail system of some
It's
sort?
like a tunneling vehicle.
Okay.
Not a tunneling vehicle, but a vehicle that goes in a tunnel.
Got it.
And the sides I mean, before I got in, I was feeling the sides of this tunnel. It felt cold to the touch, but yet it was more of like a crystal tube, if you will. And this vessel was in it, and you couldn't slide your hand between the side of the wall and the vessel. That's how close it was to this side of the wall. I said, this is mighty close. It had to be quite, precision very well if this thing's going to go down these tunnels at extremely rapid speed. And they said not to worry. And so I sat down, and this door closed silently. The vessel started to move, and I felt this humming sound. Heard the humming sound, and then the humming stopped, and the vessel started moving. It went. First, it was going slow, and then it picked up speed. Then it was going by. I mean, the scenery was going by so fast it looked like a blur. You couldn't hardly distinguish anything on the sides at all. It was that fast. I said, how fast are we going? And they said, by your recollection, 4,000 miles per hour. I said, 4,000 miles per hour? And they said, yes. We have arrived at our destination. I can imagine. I can imagine.
Okay, so I want to go step back again, and we'll get to the destination in just a moment.
Yeah.
You said you were greeted by these giants.
Well, they were huge beings.
Okay, so how tall?
They were dressed in robe. They were wearing sandals. They had the color of the robes were like a turquoise, and with a red sash type around the center. One was female, one was male. And I said, how come you're so tall? And they said, because we're Lemurian. I said, oh, never mind. And so we went on our trip. By the time they got through explaining to me how fast we were going, we were there.
Sure.
I said, how long did that trip take? And they said, only a matter of moments. I said, okay, now you're telling me Mount Shasta in California, right? And they go, yes. And we just left Area 51. That's several hundred miles.
2,000 miles, actually.
No, not really.
Well, from
No.
Nevada to
It's
California? Yeah.
it's about 800 miles from Pahrump, Nevada to Mount Shasta.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking something different.
Yeah. So it only took a matter of moments. They were there. I stepped out of this vehicle, and I stepped into the city. It was domed underneath this dome-shaped city. Some of the buildings were pyramidal shaped. Some of them were round. And it was quite an interesting sight to see. People going to and fro. Most of them were very tall, and they had blue skin. So not like a blue skin, but more of a teal, turquoise blue, light turquoise blue color. And I said, okay, so we're in Talos. Yes, you're in Talos. And I met Adama. He walked up to me, gave me a hug.
Who's Adama?
Adama is the leading spokesperson for Talos. He is an ascended master. He is Telosian, or he's Lemurian too, but he's also from the city of Talos. His daughter, Bonnie, Sharula Dux, I know you've heard of her.
Sharula Dux, yes.
Sharula Dux out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she lives now, with her husband, Shield Dux. She's the daughter of Adama. Have you had a chance to meet with her yet?
I haven't met with her. Don't know how to reach her.
Well, the best way to reach her, from what I understand, is to contact the people in Mount Shasta. Can probably get a hold of her. I'm trying to think who it was that the contact person for that.
We can talk about that later. I want to continue with your story.
Yeah, sure.
So you've been sent there. You've been called, actually summoned.
Summoned by name.
By name. We found out who has summoned you yet.
Well, I was about to find out. Well, Adama is the one that summoned me. So I said, "How is it you know my name?" And he says, "I know both of your names." I said, "Both of my names?" He says, "Yes. Your Earth name, surface Earth name, is Billy. Your true name is Zarea." I said, "Yes, but how did you know that?" "Because I know your father." I said, "Oh, okay, you know my father." My real father. And they go, "You know my real father?" And he goes, "Yes." I said, "Oh, okay. Why am I here?" They said, "You're going to get a tour of the city." I said, "Okay." So I went to their hydroponic gardens and their how they grew their food and stuff like this, and went through the city itself.
So the city, just to be clear, where is it located?
It's located 1 mile beneath the surface of Mount Shasta.
It's underneath this dormant volcano.
Yeah.
Is it hot under there?
No. Very pleasant, actually. See, the city is built in a domed covering. The covering is like a clear crystal. Okay. And I said, "Well, if this thing ever erupted, would it hurt the city?" And then he said, "No. The volcano can erupt, but it won't affect the city in any way."
Okay, thank you for that. So you're given a tour of the city.
Given a tour of the city.
Adama knows your father.
He knows my father. And as I was getting off the shuttle, Bonnie was getting on the shuttle.
Who's Bonnie?
Bonnie is the daughter of Adama, Sharula Dux.
Okay, that's...
Sharula.
Okay, so...
Princess Sharula.
Well, you mentioned having 2 names. So there's Princess Sharula Dux. Is Bonnie her surface name?
That's her surface name.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Bonnie Sharula Dux is her actual... She's actually Talos princess, if you want to get more technical about it. Why she decided to stay on the surface, I don't know, but she did. She's also gained some weight too. She used to be thin, now she's put on several pounds of extra weight, from what I understand. But so I took the journey. He says, Adama assigned a person with me and told me to mention to them, take them to the surface. So we went up to the top of Mount Shasta. As we came up in sort of like a cylindrical tube, We stepped on it.
Mm-hmm.
The platform went right through this tube, right straight up to the top of the peak of the mountain. Came out, there was snow everywhere. We were in between the two top peaks, and we were standing on this platform, looking out over down the mountain into the into the town of Mount Shasta, which was very small at that time. We could see a long ways. And I said, wow, this is really near a bit of something. He says, yes, it is. He says, I said, well, what was the purpose of me being shown this? For information. Your superiors are going to want an explanation as to where you went. So we're going to give them what they want to a degree. You're not to tell them anything about the workings of the city. I said, well, that's none of their business. He said, you can tell them that you went to a city, underground city, but you can't tell them where it is. I said, okay. So after another couple hours of walking through the city and experiencing some of the stuff in there, and ate some of the food there, that was pretty good. The fruits were huge in size. They handed me a strawberry, it was like that big around, huge, pretty good size, about the size of a nice honeydew melon. But it was real sweet tasting, sweeter than anything you taste on the surface. I asked them, well, I said, are you all vegetarian? They said, well, fruitarianism and also breatharianism. I said, what's the difference? He said, well, in fruitarianism you're eating fruit, in breatharianism you're eating nothing. That's your ultimate diet, is breatharianism. I said, oh, you mean not eating at all? He said, yeah. I said, oh, okay. Can you do that? I said, we can. So I said, okay, I said, now, you know my father. Obviously my father is from here? No, your father's from the Hollow Earth. Can I go there? In time you will.
Okay, let's stop for a second. So this is a good opportunity to get this question answered, and I've asked a lot of people this question.
Yes.
What's the difference between inner Earth and hollow Earth?
Okay. Inner Earth has to do with the subterranean cities in the Earth's crust. That's inner Earth. Hollow Earth is inside the shell, on the inside portion of the shell, where the central sun is hovering in the center. That's hollow Earth. Inner Earth is your subterranean cities, such as Agartha, and the lesser city of Shambhala. There's a greater city located in the hollow Earth itself called it's the greater city of Shambhala. And then in the Earth's crust you have the lesser city of Shambhala, which is a crystalline city. So that's the difference between them. A lot of people are saying, well, inner Earth is hollow Earth. Some people believe that's the way it is. But in actuality, it's not. Hollow Earth is where the central sun shines on the inside of the Earth's shell. Inner Earth is your caverns, your different civilizations within the crust of the Earth.
I had expected as much, so thank you for clarifying that. And going hand in hand with that question, because there's so much, if you want to call it mythology or stories or what have you about what does it take to get to these underground cities, being invited in, especially in the case of Telos.
Yes.
And even you've mentioned your mind has to be right and then to be invited in.
Yes.
The question then becomes, well, what's the difference between 3D, 4D, and 5D?
3D is your three-dimensional world as you've been accustomed to. Fourth dimensional is a rise in vibration and understanding and realizing who you are. Fifth dimension is even a higher degree. However, it's also a change in physical form. That's where your body becomes translucent, and your body becomes impervious to harm. Literally, your body takes on a very immortal form. And the fifth dimension is the key or the doorway to all higher dimensions.
Do we have fifth dimensional life on inner Earth, in hollow Earth now?
Yes, you do.
Is there, some have said that we're heading towards a shift, a change.
Another shift, yes.
Is this a dimensional shift?
It's a dimensional shift as well as a physical shift. Because once the human body goes shifts to fifth, their physical form will change. It will change for the better, and it will also change. Your density. You have a lot of density on your body right now. That's why you're seeing yourself as solid, when in actuality you're pure energy. But in essence, the energy of the fifth dimensional body is more of like a translucent body. You can see through it, but it's also solid. But it doesn't have the density that your Earth body has now. Each day you wake up, since the beginning of January 2006, ever since that time period, when the shift, the third to fourth dimension shift took place, from that point on, your density is starting to shed off your bodies. Every day you wake up, you feel lighter and more energized and more enlightened. A lot of since January 2006, a lot of babies that are being born, they're being born very intelligent. I mean, extremely higher than their predecessors. Why? Because they are getting ready for the shift to fifth dimension.
Is that coming soon?
Yeah.
When's it coming?
Well, I'm not going to give a date. I'm not going to give a time because that wouldn't be wrong. I'll just say this very soon.
Very soon?
Very soon.
Okay. Moving on. So,
I'm saying, well, what Zora has been bringing out and what we've been talking about in conference calls is a gathering. Gathering's supposed to take place before the end of this year, sometime. Doesn't say when, exact date.
gathering of what?
Gathering of, see, your DNA has a code in it, and when that code is activated, then at that point in time, point in existence, you're going to go one of three places. You're going to either go into hollow earth, inner earth, or off-world. The purpose for this is because Earth has to re-terraform. And it will be expanding as well. And that expansion is going to entail some major seismic activity. So the way that the Hollow Earth and Ashtar Command and the others are preparing, way it's set up, is the people must be taken from the face of the planet out of harm. Because this world is going to rebirth itself. It's going to reclaim the surface. All the cities and man-made, the world as you know it to be,